everyone's having a fantastic week. It's Raquel Diane here, and yes, I'm back with show number 2 for Tea Chat with Raquel Diane. I hope you tuned in last week and heard the show and the great information we had there and the breaking news. Today, there's more. Yes, there's more. If you've been listening to the news, I know you've heard. We're just going to dive right in. Today, of course, before we do that, as I always do, I want to share with you what I'm drinking today, and this is green tea with peppermint. Love it, love it, love it. Cheers, everybody. But I want to dive right into this news today. If you've been listening to the news, you know that there has been another Malaysian Airline tragedy. Yes, 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 yes. I could not believe when I heard this news. A Malaysian plane has been shot down over the Ukraine. First word out was that there was another major airline crash over the Ukraine of a Malaysian airline, but sources have revealed now that it was shot down by a ground-to-air missile. This is such a tragedy, particularly in light of what has just happened with the other Malaysian airline that went missing and is nowhere to be found. People are unaccounted for on that airline, and now we have 295 people dead from an assault, an air assault. This is such a tragedy, and it actually makes this the worst aviation incident since the 9/11 incident. Pray for these people. These people need your prayers, the families. There's so much going on. I'm just going to take these glasses off because it's getting a glare. But the Ukraine, of course, is blaming this whole incident on the pro-Russian separatists, and Russia is certainly denying that, but we have no conclusive evidence either way. Who's to blame? And this is what it's going to turn out to be, a blaming game, it seems. But investigation is ongoing. Pray again for the families. The victims, reports have come in that there were approximately 80 children aboard the plane. People, this is so sad. This is so very sad to me that innocent children, innocent people in general that were aboard this plane to make their destination, to take care of their businesses or their families or whatever they were doing, and they were shot down. By no malfunctioning of the plane, they were shot down, and someone is to blame, and this is horrible. The plane again was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. And this was flight MH17. As you remember, the other flight was flight 370 that has gone missing, and no one knows where that is. And all of those people are unaccounted for. They vanished into thin air. But now, in light of this, it kind of makes you think, what's going on here? What's really going on here? And where's that other plane? This is it's horrible. It's horrible. This tragedy is horrible. 295 people dead, 80 believed to be kids. We don't know for sure if there were any Americans, but they have not denied that there were any Americans on board that plane. Sources say that it was pro-Russian militants, and of course Russia is denying that, as I said earlier. Airlines are being rerouted, some grounded over the Ukraine airspace, of course. East Ukraine militias are denying that they shot down the aircraft. But a witness who saw the crash said that he saw a Ukrainian Air Force Sukhoi craft tailing the Malaysian airliner before it crashed. The Ukraine's president is saying his country had nothing to do with it. And of course, Russia is saying we had nothing to do with this. And certainly this is going to be an ongoing investigation that we'll see in the days ahead. And I'm praying that whoever is responsible will be brought to justice. It is just it is a terrible thing to travel or to board a plane and with an idea of safety and a feeling of safety and knowing that you're going to get to your destination, and and then something like this happens. Emergency ministry official on site says that body parts were scattered up to 15 kilometers from the actual crash site. Just a tragedy of epic proportions, and very, very, very sad what's going on. Actually, we're gonna be seeing in the days and weeks ahead. We're gonna be seeing probably a lot of the blame game. This side did it, this person did it, or this group did it. This person is responsible, and lost in all of that will be, again, as usual, as happens in every case. Lost in all of that will be the victims and the victims' families and the innocent people. And I find particularly interesting, though, that in light of everything that's going on in Israel, now we have this media attention turned to what's going on with the Malaysian Airline over the Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Israeli Defense Forces have decided to hit the ground, boots on the ground. The battle has gone to the ground with Israel and Gaza. People, it is time to pray. You've heard that statement forever. Okay, you've heard that forever. You're tired of hearing it. It's worn on your nerves. And you don't pray. You don't believe in prayer. Whatever your deal is, you have to look at what's going on in the world. You have to look at what's going on all around you. It's chaos. It's pandemonium. It's horror going on all around you. You have to know that it's time to, in the very least, be at peace with yourself. Be at peace with your brother, with your sister, with your family, with your loved ones. Make amends. You have to know that at the very least it's time to straighten things out in your own lives. These are the things that come to make us do a self-inventory. Because if you're going to change the world, you're going to do it one person at a time. It's not just going to be, you're going to snap your fingers and everybody's going to stop fighting all over the world. Everybody's going to stop disagreeing all over the world, or all over the city or the country or the state. It's going to be one person at a time, really, really seeking to change themselves. As I said, the battle is heating up and raging with Israel and Gaza. No ceasefire agreement has been reached. The Hamas totally ignored the ceasefire agreement, and they're all in it. Civilians are still dying. That's the tragedy of all of this. The IDF have stepped up its attack on Gaza. The U.S. asked Israel to work harder to protect their citizens. And overnight, the Hamas gunmen were killed, emerging from a tunnel into Israel. So the killings are still happening. The battle is still going on stronger, and in the days and weeks to come, now that this is on the ground, now that tanks are on the ground and it is taken to the ground, you're going to be seeing more bloodshed. You're going to be seeing more, possibly more than likely, more innocent civilians losing their lives again. After the Gaza children were killed, State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki says that the State Department is increasingly concerned about the safety and security of civilians on both sides, and that the U.S. is asking for a redoubling of efforts to prevent civilian casualties. Of course, a lot of people are going against the White House for their support of Israel, and you have Israel who's saying we have a right to defend, but the innocent civilians are dying. It's really crucial, guys. It's really, really crucial, and I really admonish you to just keep up with this information as much as you can. Keep up with it so that you're made aware and that you know what's going on. around the world, and how it relates to Bible prophecy, because we're seeing these things come to pass. We're seeing all of these things take place and kind of unfolding right in front of our very eyes. The Israeli defense forces have downed drones from Hamas over southern Israel, and a drone which flew into Israel airspace from over the Mediterranean Sea. This situation is ongoing. The UN Secretary General Ben Ki-moon released a statement calling for a 5-hour ceasefire to serve as a basis for a more permanent end to the fighting, or the so-called humanitarian ceasefire, which has been completely ignored by the Hamas. They are not having it. It's not going to happen. It's not happening. As we speak, breaking news has been that boots have hit the ground, so to speak. So this thing is on the ground now, along with air missiles and sea missiles, or whatever. It's on the ground now, and there will be more bloodshed in the days to come. So pray, 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 pray. I know I say that all the time. Every time I get a chance, I say pray, because prayer does it does make a difference. It makes a difference. Send out your thoughts to all of the people that are going through tragedy right now. The families of the Malaysian aircraft victims. Pray for them. Families from the other Malaysian Airline 370 that went missing and has never been found, and bodies not recovered, people just vanished into thin air. Those people are still mourning, and they're still going through deep sadness and grief in their own hearts. And now this, pray for them and just keep them in your thoughts. This is a tragedy of epic proportions, and people who are responsible have to be brought to justice. And I just hope that this isn't something else that's just swept under the rug and no fault is found, because this was not a crash. This was a blatant airstrike, ground-to-air missile that took this passenger jet down. That is okay. Anyway, I want to say this before I go on with a bit more news. I'm going to try and make this show a little shorter than the last one. I just want to thank you for your input and your comments, your subscription to my YouTube channel, your joining the T-Chat group on Facebook. I've been asking for your topic suggestions, and you've come in with some suggestions. Randy Carmichael suggested that we talk about political leaders, world leaders, and the coming new world religion or new world order. We're going to dive into that as well. Not in this program, but we will dive into that. Thank you for your suggestion, Randy Carmichael. Also, Derek Stevens has a wonderful explanation of Islam and how he wants to explain that, and how you can kind of see it one way, and when it's really this way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way, and we can be taught to look at certain religions in a negative light when there may be another side that you'd be interested to know about. So we thank you for that topic suggestion as well, Derek Stevens. And also to my friend Janet Askew Mitchell, I think I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for the lengthy comment that you did for the T-Chat video, last week's T-Chat video. I wish I could have gotten that comment and just read the whole thing, because it was so great to hear your input on that. Very thorough, and thank you so much for that, and your support as well, and for subscribing to my channel. Those of you who have not, go to Raquel Diane on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, leave your comments. These videos are going to be coming weekly, as I said earlier. And it's beginning to get overwhelming keeping up with everything that's going on, guys. There is so much going on in the world every day. I cannot cover every story on each show, because the show would be hours long. So I just try and take some of the interesting stories, of certainly the breaking headlines, and some of the stories that I think you'd be interested in hearing and get your comments on. I try to take those and condense them into maybe 30 or 40 minutes. So hopefully this one isn't so long. I don't want to bore you. But yeah, a couple of more things. There's so much going on in the world. Killings are happening all around the world. Locally, we've had just a rash of domestic violence. Young ladies that are being killed by their boyfriends or husbands or fiancés or whatever. This is just, and I know in light of everything that's going on around the world, this is, but in your own local cities, you can look around and you see how things are just escalating into just horrible. I mean, people are losing their minds. People are literally losing their minds. A young lady was killed at a Pensacola clothing store. What is going on? What is going on? An elderly woman, and this just broke my heart. An elderly woman was raped and murdered in her own home in Mississippi. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a level of conscience for people anymore. There doesn't seem to be a level of inhibition. I mean, it's just anything goes now. And what that tells me is that we're really approaching the last day. I mean, we are in the last days and we're approaching the Great Tribulation. This is what this is all about, in my opinion. Things don't just, I mean, people have no, there's nothing, there's literally nothing that you can mention these days in the way of horrible, grotesque, just, you know, something that you would never do. You can't mention that and it not have already taken place, or someone is conceiving this evil in their minds. These are the times we live in. These are the times that we live in our world. And we are fast approaching the Great Tribulation, written in the Bible. Jesus said it. He said it. He said, "Take heed that no man deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming that I am the Christ, and will deceive you." He didn't say that they will try and deceive you. They will deceive you. And many, 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 many have been deceived. Many have been deceived. Many Christians are walking around right now. Many people who say they believe in God and they love God are walking around right now deceived. And it's sad. It's sad if you take all of this lightly and just say that, you know, this is the way of the world, this is what's going on, this is what has been going on. People have been fighting, people have been dying, people have been getting murdered, and there's nothing to it. It's just going to happen until the day I die. Well, that's true. It probably will, but because you may not live to see, you know, the end of the tribulation or the rapture of the church or whatever, but you need to take seriously your very soul. And I say that with all seriousness. You need to take seriously your very soul. And I don't want to make this show just an overly religious show, but because I am a believer, if you tune into T-Chat, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear about the Lord. You're going to hear about prayer. You're going to hear about Jesus. You're going to hear about my love for God. That's just what it is. So if you don't believe and if that bothers you, then turn it off. Don't even worry about ever listening to me again, because you will hear that. So I just want to put that out there. A lot of things are going on. I'm just doing my small part to let you know, keep you up to date, because I've always followed Bible prophecy. It's always intrigued me how these prophecies from years and thousands of years, you can look at them and see them unfolding. So this is my part to share with you, and I'm so happy for the ones that tune in and that want to hear and want to learn, because we learn together. We learn together. Also, I wanted to make mention of the weather. What is up with this weather? I'm hearing reports of snowfall in midsummer, an actual blizzard in the town of Latoust in Russia. An actual snow blizzard, mid-July. Other reports of unseasonable weather all over the world, temperatures across the United States, climate all around the world is releasing relentless, extreme, breaking records. typically in the middle of July, this is typically the hottest time of the year, but not this year. And they're saying it's because of this polar vortex that's going on. Wow. Wow, in the middle of July. Can you imagine that? And I think I heard someone from the state of Michigan say that it was like 50 degrees there, and it's in July, and so they needed coats and jackets and hats and all of that. So yeah, people, it's a lot is happening, a lot that we need to keep our eyes open and ears open to hear and see what's going on. Earthquakes, of course, we talk about that. They're happening every day. That's not even, it's hardly even news anymore, because they're happening every day and all day. So you don't get, you won't turn on CNN and see that an earthquake happened, or 4 point whatever, 5 point whatever. You won't necessarily hear that every day, but they are happening every single day, all around the world, and they are increasing. Also droughts, having droughts. This is, in my opinion, another name for climate change, and all of this drastic climate change, in my opinion, another name for it is birth pangs, because this is, as Matthew 24:8 says, the beginning of sorrows, in my opinion. The beginning of sorrows. All of this is working its way to the beginning of the end. So yeah, it's unseasonably cool in the month of July, which is typically the hottest month of the year. Also, the U.S. Army, I thought this was a very interesting story to share. The U.S. Army is hoping soon to begin a clinical trial with the 3D printed skin. Yes, that's right, 3D printed skin. The goal is helping soldiers better recover from injuries sustained in battle, and they are also actually developing artificial 3D printed hearts, blood vessels, and other organs. It's no secret that the 3D printed human tissue is in the works, but the Army's technology is so far along that it could be battle ready sooner than later. So I thought that was very interesting to mention, how technology is just taking us to this point of we can make 3D skin tissue or organs now. We can clone things and people and animals, and wow, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Also, another story that I wanted to share with you. I have a couple of more here that I wanted to share with you. An eerie hole opened up on the Yamal Peninsula in northern Russia. Helicopter spotted this mysterious hole in northern Russia on Tuesday, estimated to be about 250 feet wide. It's located in the Yamal Peninsula, and the Yamal means end of the world, interestingly. That's very interesting. And we know that we've been getting sinkholes all over the world, not just there in Russia. Sinkholes have been happening all over the world for some time now. And I'm just going to kind of shoot you out a bunch of pictures of those sinkholes that we've been seeing all over the world. And it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I know that geology or geologists can say that it's because of this, it's because of that, it's the underground, whatever. And that may be true, but these things that happen are all from the will of God. They're all from something that's coming, that's working its way for the prophecies to be fulfilled. So this is interesting. People are going crazy all over the world. They're going crazy. They're losing their minds. People are committing crimes that you would not believe. And unimaginable atrocities are happening all around us, in our cities, in our states, in our country, all over the world. As I said on my other T-Chat video, you've heard of animal die-offs and fish dying off by the millions, the hundreds of thousands. And it's time to really be vigilant with the information that you take in, and how you allow yourself to really listen to what's going on, because we can be told in our news, and we know sometimes that the news is kind of they can give you the news, but you can also get a truth and a half-truth. So if you're given the half-truth, then it doesn't really make it true. So we have to trust that inner spirit on the inside of us. We have to trust that God, or that Christ, or that Christ consciousness on the inside of us to lead us into all truths, because it will do that. We can only trust our government so far. We can only trust news media so far. But the responsibility lies with us, with the individual, to make yourselves aware of what's going on in the world. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Certainly we're keeping our eyes on Yellowstone. Major deal going on over there too, as the geysers are erupting and things are heating up there. So there is a lot going on, people. There is so much going on, and you can get overwhelmed by it, but more than getting overwhelmed by it, don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it make you afraid, but let it make you vigilant in your prayers. Let it make you vigilant in getting proper knowledge, because when you know, you can prepare. When you know, you can inform others, and they can prepare, and on and on and on. And no man will be found lacking when that time comes. And most importantly, as I always say, prepare your souls, your hearts, and your minds. Another story that I thought was very interesting to get out is a painful mosquito-borne disease now affects more than 350,000 people in the Americas. This painful virus is called chikungunya, and it's spreading quickly through the Caribbean, causing alarm in Haiti and neighboring Dominican Republic. This chikungunya is spread by mosquitoes. It involves sudden fever and in most cases severe joint pain that lasts a few days, but has been known to continue for months or years. There is no cure, but doctors can relieve the symptoms. As of July the 8th, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention had encountered 136 cases in the contiguous United States, but all of these were travel associated. So people, when you're going to these countries, you're going to these other countries, and be mindful. Be mindful of the water you drink. Be mindful of being outdoors. Use repellent. I mean, just use repellent. Better yet, sometimes you just have to put off going to all of these places, because most of these cases that have been seen in the United States are travel related. That means that the virus was found in visitors or American residents returning from areas where the disease is prevalent. So just keep in mind, protect yourself. Always protect yourself. It's kind of, in my opinion, at the moment, really unsafe to travel abroad. I'm not saying for every place in the world, but just kind of do your research when you want to take trips, when you want to go to different places. It's wonderful to travel. I love to travel. There's a lot of places I'd love to see. I want to go to Egypt and see the pyramids. My husband and I always talk about going to see the pyramids and going to different places all over the world, but you're going to have to use a lot of wisdom when it comes to planning your trips abroad, out of the country, because things are so perilous now. People are crazy in our country, out of our country, all over the world. They're just losing their minds, and people are being kidnapped. Christians, people find out you're a Christian and you're traveling to this country, then they want to make a point. I mean, who knows? So be mindful, and not just because of terrorist groups, but because of, like we said, this disease, mosquito-borne disease that people are bringing into the United States. So just be mindful of that, of where you're going. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. Be attentive to the Spirit. block out all of the foolishness, block out all of the other things that's going on in and around on social media. Block that stuff out and keep your ears open in the spirit. Ask the Lord to give you a spiritual ear, discernment, to hear what the Spirit is saying to you. Because as Mark 13:29 says, so ye in like manner, when ye shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. People, the church must be prepared for the return of Christ, for every eye shall see him. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do when you see Christ appear? And he is coming. The promise is true, and it's sure. It's sure. Things are culminating in Israel. We're seeing it, and it's time to stay on your guard. Stay on your guard. Don't be paranoid. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't let it overwhelm you. And I understand a lot of people just don't look at the news because there's so much going on, and every time you turn on the news, there's someone has gotten killed locally, abroad. It's just horrible. It's horrible. So I can understand people that kind of want to take a break from the news, but I want to dive in there, and I want to give you the news as it happens as best I can, because I want you to be informed. Continue to pray for the victims on the Malaysian plane. Continue to pray for their families. Continue to pray for the fight that's going on with Israel and the Gaza. It's going to heat up in the next days, in the next weeks, the next hours. You're going to be hearing of more bloodshed there. Pray. Pray for the peace. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the peace of Israel. Pray for the innocent civilians and their families. And keep your heads up and your eyes open and your ears open as well. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode of Tea Chat. Again, I'm going to be inviting many of you. I'm going to try and set up a live phone call that you can call in. Those of you who want to be guests on the show and just want to chat it up about different topics and subjects, then we're gonna start doing that. We're gonna set up live talks. So if you're interested, inbox me, come to the Tea Chat page, print out or tell me your topic suggestions, and I'd be glad to go over them. Thank you so much again for your support, so much for watching this episode. This has been another episode of Tea Chat with Raquel Diane. Again, at the end of this video, leave your comments, your questions, your thoughts. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends, share on your page if you will, thumbs up. Go to the Facebook page and go to Tea Chat with Raquel Diane and join that group as well. I'd be glad to have you there. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and God bless, and we'll see you next week.